Hello everybody, today we're back with class 9 CBSE syllabus, and the chapter we will be doing today is lines and angles. Alright, so before we begin the chapter, let's understand a few key terms of what lines and angles are. So first, some of the terms we'll be using in this chapter is called a line segment or ray and collinear points, angle. So we will talk about these terms now. All right. So let's talk about first thing, which is a line segment. So a line segment is represented by a dash over 2 points. So let's say you have a point A, you have a point B. So if I were to join these points, and I would say this is a line segment, so I would write this as AB and a dash on top of it. Okay. And now this is called a line segment. I will write that because it has 2 points and you know its length, that it starts from A and goes to B. So this is this length. But now let's talk about a ray. All right. A ray will be same thing, but it will be with an arrow. Why an arrow? Let me explain it. So you have A, all right. And then you have to say that it goes straight all the way. It continues going straight. You do not know its end point. You can have a B over here, you can have a B over here, or you can just have a B over here. So we do not know that. That's why you put an arrow to saying that it's continuously going. We don't know when it will stop. So that's why we put an arrow. All right. That's called a ray. And a line, another way of representing a line for this can also be with 2 arrows. This way and this way. But we will not be using these symbols, all right? So let's understand some key points. Okay. If you have a line, and let's say you have 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. We know all these 3 points lie on the same line, means this line. Okay. This is the line and all 3 points lie on this line. So then we can say that these points are co-linear. These are co-linear points. That means they lie on the same point. Linear, you know the meaning of linear, it's a line, and co-linear is the same point. And if they do not lie on the same point, like you have a line over here, and you have, let's say, 1 point here, but another point's here, another point's here. So then you will say it non-collinear. Simple. It's important to know these terms before doing the chapter. All right. Now let's talk about an angle. You must have recalled in earlier classes an angle is formed when 2 rays. And a ray is what? A ray starts from a point and goes here and can go anywhere. So let's start with the first one. These are 2 rays. Let's say you have ray 1 and ray 2. And then the angle between them over here in this case is 90 degrees, right? And what do we call this? We call this a right angle. You all must be already knowing this. And what is an acute angle? These are a few terms you will learn. Acute angle is the angle, let's say if it's x degrees, it is greater than 0 degrees and it's less than 90 degrees. Okay. To draw it, it will be like, let's say this is 1 ray and this is another ray. So just to give an idea, this is 30, for example, and you have another ray, and this is 60. Okay, these are all acute angles. Angle is this part, this is the angle, okay? It's formed between 2 rays. Okay, and these are also called as arms or rays. So you can anyways possible. All right. So let's talk about a obtuse angle. What is an obtuse angle? Some of you may have figured it. It will be more than 90, but what will be less than? So if x is the same angle, it will be more than 90, definitely, but less than 180 because 180 is a straight line. To give an example of an obtuse angle, you have a point. You have a point, and this goes here. And let's say this is 120 degree, or you have a point and this goes here. We can say this is approximately 160 degree. Okay, these both are obtuse angles. So we know an obtuse angle is also now. Let's talk about a straight line. So some questions will be right, a straight line is drawn, or just a line is drawn parallel or something. In all these cases, the angle in any line will always be 180 degree. And most of you will be wondering how. So example, I take this point. So on the two rays here, one ray is here, another arm is over here. So here 1 and 2. And they're forming a straight line. That means following a 180 degree, means a semicircle. All right. So like example, there was a point here and it was like this. I go here, I go here, I go here, and suddenly I have to come here, right? At a point. So this for example is 30, this is 90, this is 120. But why did I come here? It's 180. So I've covered the whole semicircle, and that's why it's called a 180 degree. And another term you should be knowing is a reflex angle. And most of you must have guessed it. It's an angle x degrees is greater than 180 degree and less than 360. Why 360? This is a full circle. Can't have more than that. So let's say you have a ray. Okay, and now this little twist in this is that I can either have it like this, but I have to take it from this direction. All right, I cannot take it from here. If I take it from here, then it'll just be another 60 degree or something like that. Taking from there, so let's say this is 210 degree, it's more than 180. Or another way to draw this would be like this, just a normal way. You think it's 60, but no, it depends on how you show the arrow. So if I show it like this, that means it has taken more than a semicircle, more than 180 over here, and it has come all the way back to here, right? So that's why it's more than 180. Okay, and these are the types of angles. Now we'll be moving on. All right, so let's talk about complementary angles. The basic definition of this, the sum of angles is less than or equal to, sorry, not equal, less than, it is equal to 90 degree, right? So if I have two angles, let's say 45 and 45, these are known as complementary angles. Okay. And another example would be 60-30, yeah, 20-70, 60-30, 20-70, also 89 and 1, right? Because they add up to 90. The sum we're talking about. So now, if I were to take the supplementary angles, it would just be sum of angles equals 180 degree, right? To give this example, you have 120 degree and you have, let's say, 60 degree. So if I were to put in a line, this is one full line and this is the one point. I have a 60 degree over here. Okay, and also let's give there's another point here, and I have a 120 degree here. I'm just giving an example. This is another angle in some other line. I will just draw another angle like this. Okay, so I'm understanding. And like this. Okay, I have two angles, and this is 120, this is 60. So the sum of them would be 180. So there will be supplementary angles. Okay, these are the terms you should know. Right. All right, let's talk about a very important concept. It's called types of angles. This will be used in your future grades as well. So it's very important you pay attention to this. So first, what we'll be discussing is adjacent angles. Okay, this is just understanding, not very useful. So if you have two angles and they have a common vertex, what is a vertex? The vertex is nothing but a point. Okay, they have a common point. Let's say this is one ray, and there are two angles formed that have a common vertex, the same point. So let's draw two angles, any two angles you can draw, anything. So let's draw one here, and let's say, yeah, one over here. Okay, this is another angle. This is your X angle, and this is your Y angle. All right. Now, instead of putting in X and Y, let's put A, B, C, D to rays. So let's say this is B, and This is your A, this is your D point, the C point. All right. So why I put this thing is because this is just a ray in this segment. You can have a point here, here, here. So this is to denote where the point is. All right. I explained what a ray is, and a point can be anywhere on the ray. So now what this says that angle ABC, what is ABC? The angle ABC is this whole angle, right? A, B, and C. What's the angle between them? Angle B. So this whole angle, right? So this whole angle is equal to the sum of angle A, B, and D plus angle B and C, right? This whole angle can be broken into two parts. This part 1, and part 2. So this part 1 is this A, B, and D, and this part 2 is this D, B, and C. So this big angle can be broken down into these two angles, right? ABD and DBC. This is pretty common sense, but it comes in useful. All right. Now let's talk about linear pair. So as you know, in a straight line, the maximum angle can be 180 degree, right? So if I put any angles here, 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 they all have to add up to 180, right? Because in a straight line. So we're going to use the same concept. So again, let's take a common vertex. Let's take this vertex. Let this be B. Let this be A. And let this point be C. So if I draw like this, so how many angles are formed? That's right. One angle here and one angle here, right? Because if I just look at this side, there's only one angle here. And if I look at this side, then angle here, right? So let's give this a name. This will be X and Y. Angle X plus angle Y will be 180 degree. There'll be supplementary angles. Why? Because in a straight line, and the max sum of angles in a straight line is always 180 degree. So if I have to add these, like these two angles, they'll always add to 180 because that's in a straight line. So that's why we call this supplementary, or another word to say this is linear pair of angles. Both are correct. So you can use any of them. Linear pair of angles, supplementary angles, right? All right. The next thing we're going to learn is something called vertically opposite angles, right? So let's say you have two lines. The lines are A and B and C and D. All right. So vertically opposite angles basically means this angle, okay, will be equal to this angle. They look equal also. They seem pretty good. They're vertically opposite each other. They're opposite. So this will be X and this will also be X. This is a theorem. We need to learn this. And this angle will also be equal to this angle because it's also vertically opposite, right? Y and Y. Now these types of angles only occur in intersecting lines. Like these lines are intersecting at a common point O, right? So we need to keep this in mind. This only occurs in intersecting lines when two lines AB and CD are intersecting at a common point O. So then the vertically opposite angles will be equal. Y will be equal to Y. X will be equal to X, right? All right, so let's do a question. And in the question, they've given us this diagram, all right? And they've also given us that angle POR to angle ROQ is 5:7. That's the ratio they've given us. So the first thing to do is write it that angle POR is to angle ROQ is equal to 5x is to 7x. Because we don't know the actual value, so we can keep it as 5x and 7x, right? So let's identify where that is. POR will be this, right? It will be this. So let's put this as 5x. And ROQ, this will be here, 7x. So now if you see that this is a straight line and these two angles are there, so we know that angle POR plus angle ROQ is equal to 180 degree because they are a linear pair. We discussed that, right? Since they're in a straight line, it will be that. So just substitute the values. 5x plus 7x is equal to 180. 12x is equal to 180. So therefore, x, 1 minute. So therefore, x will nothing be 180 by 12, which is nothing but 15. Don't put the degree, just put a 15 there. Right. Now that we're not done here. So angle POR will be 5 into 15, which is nothing but 75 degrees, right? And angle ROQ will be 7 into 15, which is nothing but I think 105 degrees. Yes, 105 degrees. Yes, 105 degrees, right? So now we have got these angles. Now we need to find the rest of the angles. So let me just erase this. I hope you noted it down. So what we're going to do is you got to replace this 5x with a 75 and 7x with a 105. So now find the other angles. Isn't this angle vertically opposite that angle? So this will be 75, right? So POR is equal to angle SOQ. Why? Because they're vertically opposite. And we discussed that vertically opposite angles are equal in intersecting lines. So therefore, angle SOQ is also 75. And similarly, the same way the other angle, which is ROQ, is equal to POS. And that is equal to 105 degrees. So POS is also 105 degrees because they are also vertically opposite. So we have applied two concepts here, the linear pair of angles to find this branch and the vertically opposite to find this branch. And that is how we found all the angles by a simple ratio of angles. Right, this is just one example. We'll be moving on to questions in some time. right? So what have we discussed right now? We discussed that they've given us this, that these two angles, these two red angles, PQR is equal to PRT, and we have to prove that angle PQS is equal to angle PRT, right? And if this is ST is a straight line, this, since it is a linear pair, angle PQS will be 180 degrees minus PQR, this angle, right, will be equal to 180 minus PQR, and same way angle PRT will be equal to 180 minus PRQ, since they're a linear pair. And the question has given us that these two angles are equal, right? So can we also say that angle PQS is equal to 180 degree minus angle PRQ, because since they're equal, which is also equal to angle PRT. As you can see, this statement holds true for this and for this, right? Because these two angles are equal, it's given. So therefore, this angle is equal to this angle, and that's what we had to prove in this question. All right, guys. So we discussed two questions and we discussed some basic concepts, right? That's very good. So the chapter lines and angles, the basic concepts about this is done, and we discussed two types of questions which can come for your exams and what you need to know. So for more questions, we'll be putting next week 2 other videos, and then we'll be done. So this year I've learned the first part of the chapter, which is types of angles, and a few questions on just linear pair of angles, supplementary, complementary. We will also be discussing some concept called parallel lines and transversal. Since you must have learned this in your previous grades, it will be easier to go with this, right? So now let's discuss what are parallel lines and transverse. So parallel lines, all of you know that there are two lines that the angle between them is 0 degrees. There is no angle between, they're not ever intersecting. And let's say you have one transverse, that means you have one transverse that's cutting them, right? So now we will discuss the types of angles which you can form. So let's just keep this, all right, let's just name these angles. This angle is number 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6, angle 7, and angle 8. So these are the angles formed by the transversal and the two transversal lines. So now let's discuss the terms. The first term which you already know is corresponding angles. Already corresponding. And such corresponding angles, one example would be angle 1 and angle 5, right? Angle 1 and angle 5. You can see it when I write. Look at the diagram when I'm writing the angles. Angle 2 and angle 6. And angle 4 and angle 8. Try noticing the pattern between these angles. As you can see, 1 is over here, so I skip one angle and then I come here. 2 is over here, I skip one angle and I come here. 3 is over here, I skip one angle and come to 7. 4 is here and I skip one angle and come to it. So it's basically coming down and skipping one angle, or going up and skipping one angle. That is basically what corresponding angle means, right? So these are the only types of corresponding angles in two parallel lines and one transverse. All right. So let's discuss the other one now. Second one would be alternate, I'm adding ALT, interior angles. All right. And these would be angle 4 and angle 6, and angle 3 and angle 5. Why? Because they're interior. That means they're between these two transversals, right? And angle 4 and angle 6, they're interior, they're equal, and angle 3 and angle 5, opposites, they're equal, right? So that's why we call them alternate interior angles. They will be equal. And now let's discuss the third one. Third one is alternate exterior angles. Yes, and these would simply be angle 1 and angle 7, and angle 2 and angle 8, right? Because 2 is here and 8's here. They're again opposite 1 and 7, but they're outside. They're outside the transversal. They're here and they're here, right? That's why they alternate exterior angles, but they are alternate. That means they're on the different sides. Now, one more thing which you may not have heard is something called co-interior angles. Co-interior angles are basically supplementary angles only. But why do we call them co-interior? Because 4 and 5 and 3 and 6, they're both inside. So angle 4 plus angle 5 will be 180. Why 180? Because I call them supplementary angles, right? So that's why they're not equal, but the sum is 180 degree. This will come in handy. They have to be interior, remember, inside and same. Co means together. So this is the sum 180. All right. All right, so let's do a question, guys. So we have two parallel lines, APB, A, B, and B, and we have a triangle, right? Okay, okay. So we have, all right, so this is angle is given to be 50 degrees, all right? And they've given this to be Y, and they've given this to be X, and this to be 127, right? So the question says, find X and Y. Simple question, I think will be done very quickly. Find X and Y. All right. So this is given to 50. And so if you can see that 50 and X, they're alternate interior angles because they're inside. So X will definitely be equal to angle 50, right? Because it's alternate interior. And Y, we can't say about Y. So what we got to do is we got to find this angle, right? This angle which I'm pointing over here, right? This would be 180 minus 127 because it's a linear pair of angles, and that would be equal to 53 degrees, right? So and X is 50. So in a triangle, right now I'm just drawing this triangle. This is Y, and X is came to be 50, and this we found 53. And you know the sum of the angles in a triangle is 180. So 50 plus 53 plus Y is 180. 103 plus Y is 180, right? So therefore, Y is nothing but 180 minus 103, which is 77 degrees, right? So we have X is equal to 50 and we have Y is equal to 77. So these are the two angles we found. Why can't you say that Y is equal to 127? Because they're not alternate interior. 127 would be equal to 50 plus Y, right? And that is the case. 50 plus 77 is equal to 127. That's why then they become alternate interior. But if you look carefully, they're not alternate interior, just Y. 50 plus Y is alternate interior to 127. So that's another way you could have found out Y. And X and 50 are alternate interior. So the concept, we can use all types of concepts in any question we solve. So it's best to learn the concept and I'm explaining it. So we have used linear pair over here. We could have used alternate interior. We used alternate interior here, right? And also we use triangle sum property. See, this is how math is all correlated. So this is very important. You know your basics. Solve any question, right? All right, guys. So that's it for today. Maybe some of you did not know the angle sum property of the triangle. Maybe we can discuss that in the next lecture. But that's all for today. We discussed the parallel lines. We discussed ray terminology, line segment. We discussed parallel. We discussed complementary supplementary angle, which is 180 degree, 90 degree. We discussed acute, obtuse, and the types of angles. And we also discussed that in the parallel line, the transversal, we discussed like corresponding angles, alternate interior. We discussed corresponding, alternate exterior, and all those types, right? And along with that, we did some questions. So then in the next lecture, maybe in a quick lecture, we will discuss the angle sum property of the triangle, right? It's basically nothing much. It's just one triangle, and then you have these angles, the sum of all these three angles is 180 degree, which we just discussed. And some questions will be that inside the triangle, you have these lines, you have an altitude. So you have to find this angle, and that angle. We will discuss that in the next lecture, but that's all for today. I hope you understood something and you liked the way I explained. So please don't forget to give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you wish, so please share this video across with all your classmates or people who require help in math or any NCERT or CBSE syllabus. We'll be also doing other chapters from science and English. But right now we're sticking to math. Later on, after we've done a few chapters in math, we will go on to this. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this.